Welcome everyone to Crypto 101, an introduction to cryptocurrency. This is facilitated by Mike Leslie of Galvanized Financial. I wanted to put this together just to give everyone a solid understanding of, the origin of cryptocurrency, where it came from, some considerations, where it's going, and just give you an overall foundation, because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of talking heads, but I just wanted to give you some foundational understanding of cryptocurrency, and hopefully from there you could build upon it and decide whether or not you wanted to, diversify your portfolio into it. So with that said, let's move forward. So the agenda for today's session is going to go over, number one, the origin of cryptocurrency. So who is or what is Satoshi Nakamoto? We're going to go through the birth of Bitcoin. We're going to also talk about a beautiful math problem, right? And get to the heart of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And mining ain't easy. And we're going to figure out that, Bitcoin mining and mining for gold have a lot in common. Then we're going to talk about, the good, the bad, the indifferent of crypto. Can't forget blockchain technology, understanding the differences between a centralized and a decentralized currency. A point of view to discuss from our good friend and business tycoon, Elon Musk. And we're also going to, talk about some altcoins and NFTs, right? The non-fungible tokens, which have garnered a lot of interest as of late. Finally, we're going to bring it all together and, talk about how we want to, proceed with caution and where you can trade cryptocurrency, how you can, store your, whether your wallets, whether it's a hot or cold wallet. We'll get into that. And, we're just gonna end it there, right? So without further ado, let's just get into the session. So, who or what is Satoshi Nakamoto? Satoshi Nakamoto is a name used by a presumed pseudonym person or persons who developed Bitcoin and authored the Bitcoin white paper, which was the original reference for Bitcoin. As a part of the implementation, Nakamoto also devised the first blockchain database. In this process, Nakamoto was the first to solve the double spending problem for digital currency using a peer-to-peer network. If you think about the US dollar or just US currency overall, one of the things that, that everyone, guards against, or when you think about, the regulatory bodies or just, law enforcement, is counterfeit money, right? We want, counterfeit bills is an issue, and we can't have that, right? Because that's a sort of a double spend. You have $1, but there's a copy of an image of another that's again spent, and that it shouldn't be that way. It should be a real transfer of value. That problem is like 3 times an issue when it comes to cryptocurrency. And Satoshi Nakamoto was able to solve that double spending problem by coming up with a cryptographic language that can authenticate certain transactions, right? So he was able to solve the double spending problem for digital currency using a peer-to-peer network. Nakamoto was active in the development of Bitcoin up until about 2010, and pretty much, this person or persons kind of, exited and kind of disappeared into the night. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency or a digital asset designed to work as an exchange. And again, it's using cryptographic language to control and manage manage the actual transactions rather than relying on a central authority like we have now, which is like the Fed, right? The Fed actually regulates buys and sells securities, and it also influences rates. This is a decentralized exchange of assets, right? So it doesn't have that central authority, manipulating or controlling the market. This is a peer-to-peer network, ideally. Okay. So on August 18th, 2008, the domain name bitcoin.org was registered. Later that year, on the 31st of October, a link to the paper authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin, Peer-to-Peer Electronic Cash System, was first posted to a cryptography mailing list. This paper detailed the methods of using a peer-to-peer network to generate what was described as a system of electronic transactions without relying on trust. Again, going back to the differences between that centralized and decentralized body. If you're looking at the slide, you see the birth of Bitcoin. Back in 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin and created the blockchain. In 2010, you see a highlight in which the first real-world transaction, a pizza was bought for about 10,000 Bitcoin. That would be an expensive pizza today with Bitcoin around $50,000 of Bitcoin. If you look all the way to the extreme right, Bitcoin was a previous high price. Back in 2018 was around $20,000 per coin. We saw it fall to a rock bottom price around $3,250. And as of today's date of this video, which is April 27, 2021, Bitcoin is about $53,000 a coin. So a wild ride, as you can see. Very wild ride. So one of the things that we wanted to touch upon is a beautiful math problem. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Satoshi Nakamoto was able to solve the double spending issue, a double spending problem of currency. And basically did it with this cryptographic language. So if you look at this proof of work slide, you see things such as digital signatures, hash, proof of work. All of these things, just so you know in a nutshell, are basically a computational puzzle that can be authenticated all the way down the line. And as new chain links are added to this proof of work link, they all have to have these certain authenticated markings, such as the signature, such as the message and hash. They are truly legitimate and not counterfeit, as we should say, right? So you can see all the way from start to finish of the chain, all of these transactions, and they should be able to be fully authenticated, and the proof of work should, through this cryptographic language, should prove to be authentic. So when I said mining ain't easy, Bitcoin mining is performed by high-power computers that solve complex computational math problems. These problems are so complex that they cannot be solved by hand and are complicated enough to tax even the most incredibly powerful computers. So the result of Bitcoin mining is twofold. First, when computers solve these complex math problems on the Bitcoin network, they produce new Bitcoin, not unlike when a mining operation extracts gold from the ground. And second, by solving computational math problems, Bitcoin miners make the Bitcoin payment network trustworthy and secure by verifying its transaction information. So when someone sends Bitcoin anywhere, it's called a transaction. Transactions made in store or online are documented by banks, point-of-sale systems, and physical receipts. Bitcoin miners achieve the same thing by clumping these transactions together in blocks and adding them to a public record called the blockchain, similar to that proof of work slide that I showed you just earlier, if you look at that as a chain, right? When Bitcoin miners add a new block of transactions to the blockchain, part of their job is to make sure that those transactions are accurate. In particular, Bitcoin miners make sure that Bitcoin is not being duplicated. Again, that was a unique quirk of digital currencies called double spending, right? And now we've totally were able to do away with that due to this type of blockchain and cryptographic language. With printed currencies, counterfeiting is always an issue. But generally, once you spend that $20 in the store or wherever in the mall, the bill in your hand is exchanged with the salesperson. And with digital currency, it's a totally different story. It can be reproduced so easily. So that is why this technology is so key and it's quite genius, right? Or if you look at these transactions, they all must be all the properties of the distributed ledger technology, i.e. blockchain. It has to be programmable. It must be secure, anonymous, unanimous. All networks must agree. Time-stamped, distributed, immutable. You put all this in a pot and you come up with language that is authentic, and you can just know with that it's free of the double spending issue that was once unsolved. So just going back to centralized versus the decentralized network, you have to, if you look at a centralized cryptocurrency exchange, it's a platform where you can buy or sell digital assets. Here you have to trust a third party to monitor the transaction and secure the assets on behalf of the buyer and the seller. That's something similar to the Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve manipulates and changes and impacts interest rates that affect your dollar at the end of the day and your spending power. That's more of a centralized exchange. Cryptocurrency, or a DEX, which is a decentralized cryptocurrency exchange, is similar to a centralized one, except it doesn't have the third party. All the funds in this exchange remain stored on the blockchain, and these platforms allow peer-to-peer, me to you, you to me, not any overarching control mechanism in place, trading for which it uses assets, tokens, or a system, unlike the IOU-based system of a centralized cryptocurrency exchange uses. So here we're going to just look at a perspective. This was a perspective from Elon Musk in regards to it was him being corralled by a lot of some journalists and just fans and asking his opinion on cryptocurrency. This is courtesy of TMZ. And I wanted you to take a look at it. I wanted to, just get just talk about it a little bit with you, just as a perspective of cryptocurrency, right? Because now we kind of understand what it is, where it came from, the origins, and the technology behind it. But let's get into the perspectives around it a bit. Here we go.
The next currency for the world?
Well, I mean, there's currently a poll to say, what do you want?
I want it to go. I'm in.
All right. So then, I think it should be the will of the people,
But is there a problem because it's not limited, because it's not like Bitcoin with a limited number of coins and it can just expand infinitely? Do you think that brings away the value from the coin?
Yes, it does. But, first of all, I think people should not invest their life savings in cryptocurrency, to be clear. I think that's unwise. But, if you want to sort of, speculate and kind of like, I don't know, maybe have some fun. There's a good chance that crypto is the future currency of Earth.
Right.
And then it's like, well, which one is it going to be? And maybe it'll be multiple. But it should be considered speculation at this point. And so, don't go too far on the crypto speculation front.
So what do you guys think about that? Right, just take a quick step back. We heard from Elon Musk. He talked about, the allure of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You see that guy, he was like trying to have him sign the card. I mean, that guy was crazy. Like, he just had the marker and he just had his card. Like, I don't think he ever signed it. He just held on to it. I thought that was funny. But anyway, I digress. I agree with Elon for what it's worth. I know he's a trillionaire and like, who am I? But, at this point, it looks like it's not going anywhere. You have all these institutions doubling down on cryptocurrency, whether it's BNY Mellon, whether it's MasterCard, Visa, or even be able to buy a Tesla with it, right? I mean, you have all these major companies doubling down and it's not going anywhere. So, I mean, I still think you should look at it as speculation. But hey, maybe to allocate 1 to 5% of your portfolio to it isn't a terrible thing, right? Maybe that's something that, to be fully diversified, and I believe in diversification, whether it's stocks, bonds, hey, maybe this is another asset class that, is something that you should have on your radar and to look at, right? So, we also understand that Bitcoin is not the only person at the party, right? There's other coins out there besides Bitcoin that you may or may not have heard of. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about them, give them some love today. Whether, let's look at some of the altcoins, right? This slide is a little bit dated. I'm sure it has changed, but the big one is definitely still at the top of the heap is Bitcoin, right? It's a scarce, there is a finite amount of Bitcoin, right? I think about 85% of Bitcoin is mined up to this point. So there is some scarcity there that makes it very different from Dogecoin, right? If you're thinking about Dogecoin, just understand that Dogecoin, they can create an infinitesimal amount of Dogecoin. There is no scarcity with Dogecoin. They can just create it out of the thin blue air. So that is something that you have to think about. Very much unlike Bitcoin, in which there is some scarcity there. Ethereum is a little different. It's not a coin. It's more of a token, right? But I like Ethereum due to the utility of the smart contracts, and we're talking about NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens are on an Ethereum platform. I think that when you think about financial contracts, when you think about just the largest cryptocurrency by total market cap, it's Ethereum, right? It was first proposed in 2013 by developer Vitalik Buterin, and it relies on blockchain technology. Some of these you've heard in the news, pretty much negative, like Ripple. Ripple has been cited by the SEC. They don't really know whether it's an asset or a cryptocurrency. So there's some issues there. Another one, Tether, which was originally dubbed Real Coin, was launched in about 2014 and was pegged to the US dollar, making it one of the first cryptocurrencies to do that. Unfortunately, Tether is currently the subject of an investigation by the New York Attorney General. The U.S. office has alleged the firm was behind the cryptocurrency, has, for periods of part of time, held no dollar reserves to back the coins in circulation. So again, it's pegged to the US dollar, but it looks like period of time, they were holding no dollar reserves to back those coins in circulation. So you can look at, there's other coins out there. Cardano is, you probably heard of, that one is it's a decentralized public blockchain. That one's pioneered by teams of academics, engineers, ADA. It's a digital currency that operates on a nonprofit platform. Chainlink is another. So there are quite a few cryptocurrencies, quite a few members at the party besides Bitcoin that may deserve some of your attention. And the one that you probably are hearing the most about as of recent times is the NFT, the non-fungible token. It's basically a unit. It's a unit of data, or a digital asset. It's a non-fungible token is a unit of data stored on a blockchain. Again, a digital ledger, which can represent a unique digital item like art. An NFT is a cryptographic token, But unlike cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and many network of utility tokens, NFTs are not mutually interchangeable. Let me go over that again since I sneezed. A non-fungible token is a unit of data stored on a blockchain, which can represent a unique digital item like art. An NFT is a cryptographic token, but unlike cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and many network or utility tokens, NFTs are not mutually interchangeable, meaning non-fungible. NFT is created by uploading a file, such as an artwork, to an NFT auction market. Some big ones are like Known Origin, Rarible, or OpenSea. So this creates a copy of the file recorded on the digital ledger as an NFT, which can be bought with cryptocurrency and resold. In recent time, Ja Rule, the rapper of mid '90s fame, he was part of a scandal, the Fire Island Festival I think it was called the Fire Festival. Anyway, he purchased the original artwork to that event for like $2,000 or so. He ended up selling said artwork as an NFT for over $100-something thousand. Talking about a return. Again, bought the artwork for $2,000, made it an NFT, sold it for over $100,000. This is disruptive technology, ladies and gentlemen. NFTs that are on an Ethereum platform can revolutionize the trading card. You've looked at Tom Brady with an NFT, Rob Gronkowski with NFTs, and I think you're going to see much more of that. I think you're going to have music, just a litany of different ways for them to leverage the Ethereum network through an NFT. I mean, it's mind-blowing how disruptive I feel this technology is going to be. But again, we want to proceed with caution. We're going to highlight the regulatory issues. Janet Yellen has some issues with cryptocurrency and has been very critical of cryptocurrency. Ripple, just other issues like what I mentioned with Ripple and Tether. Which one? You could have your money in some of these things, and the SEC could come in and figure out that they're doing something wrong, and then you're jammed up. You're stuck kind of holding the bag, right? That can happen. Is this a digital asset? Is it a cryptocurrency? Like for me, it looks like to me, and I didn't really, and even Mark Cuban has mentioned this, and I totally agree. Cryptocurrency has not been, I don't think it's been confirmed that it can be exchanged, that it's a good exchange mechanism, right? Like if you think about the dollar and the money you have in your pocket, again, you can go to the store, you can buy that, and you can buy goods and items with it, and people will exchange, your money for the good. But people aren't really doing that with cryptocurrency right now, right? They're really holding it. They're really using it as a storage of value. And I think that that's not going to change. I think that people are going to buy and hold. So now, what is it? Is it currency? Are we trading it? It doesn't seem like the utility is in the exchange of it. The utility is of you investing in it, holding it, and for later value. And if that's the case, the terminology may need to change. I don't know. But those are issues that that we're going to see. But regardless of the fact, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere as companies again are continuing to offer Bitcoin, take Bitcoin, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Again, this looks like it's going to be bigger than the internet, or something as big as the internet. So just so you know, some top Bitcoin and crypto investing sites: Coinbase Gemini. I think Coinbase is number one. They just had an IPO not too long ago. That's where you really can own your Bitcoin, whether it's using a wallet that's attached, a hot wallet, or one that's external, a cold wallet that you can actually hold your Bitcoin on. Because one thing I want to just say, if you're buying your Bitcoin with Robinhood or Venmo or Cash App, it's not really that you own that Bitcoin. And you need to understand that, because you do not own the keys. That's a whole nother topic, and a whole nother session. With Coinbase and Gemini, you do own the keys. You do own the Bitcoin. You don't run Robinhood and Venmo and Cash App. What you do own with Robinhood, Venmo, and Cash is a promise. It's a promise that they will pay you the US equivalent of your cryptocurrency should you decide to sell. Okay? That's all they're telling you. Okay? You don't own the keys, but with Coinbase Gemini, you can utilize an external wallet or use one that is provided by the exchange in which you can utilize your debit or checking account. Either way. But then that way, that's a traditional way of you holding and owning your cryptocurrency. Because again, Robinhood, Venmo, you don't really own it. It's just a representation. So if you really want to do it the right way, you really want to be a serious investor in crypto, I think you do it traditional way and move away from the ease and the convenience of the Robinhoods and Venmo if you really want to be serious about trading crypto. So again, I hope you got a lot out of this. I took you to the beginning of crypto, the why, the blockchain technology, some perspectives on it, how maybe one can look at it as something to further diversify your portfolio, and also just bring it all together with the top sites, some of the altcoins and the NFT craze, right? So hopefully you got something out of this 20 so minutes with me. I'm Galvanized Mike. Galvanized Financial is the organization. Please continue to go to my website, Galvanized Financial. Reach out to me on Facebook, Galvanized Financial, Instagram, Galvanized_financial, and Twitter at Galvanized Mike. And I have a bi-weekly podcast. It's called the What We Don't Know podcast. It's on all major streaming platforms. Please, give me a download, listen. I would love to further build with my listeners. And if you like this content, please subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping a lot more information-filled content that's lesson-based, and let's get to know each other a little bit more, right? Again, this is Galvanized Mike signing off until next time. Hope you enjoyed everything. Peace.